Welcome to Unchained, where we break free from outdated supply chain thinking. We're bringing you bold ideas and fresh perspectives that challenge the status quo. By pushing boundaries and redefining possibilities, we lead the way in shaping what's next. The future is now. Let's get started.
Hello, I'm Michael Leen, and today we're going to explore the 78 use cases of AI that we've developed here at Bristlecone. At Bristlecone, we pride ourselves to be at the forefront of AI. Not only do we implement it for our clients, we also innovate on it, and we also build AI tools, which we call accelerators. Now, today I have joining with me Jen Chew. She leads our global consulting practice and is on our executive team, and she's going to walk us through these 78 use cases. You know, Jen, when I walk into a store and I see more than 3 options, I just get paralyzed. How are our clients going to deal with 78 use cases? How are they going to zero in on what brings them the most value?
Well, the good news is our use cases are focused on supply chain, which is really our area of expertise. And a lot of AI today has been very horizontal, right? Focused on general productivity. And really, we help the supply chain executive narrow in on their planning challenges, their manufacturing challenges, their execution challenges, their order management challenges. So I'd say we should be looking at their biggest areas of pain, and we've got use cases that can help them address that.
Wonderful. So you're in the unique position of going to pretty much every conference that's out there. You speak with research institutions, you speak with, the over 100 active clients that we have in our client book here at Bristlecone. What are you hearing? Where is most of the interest in AI in the supply chain being focused on?
Yeah, so let me answer it in 2 ways. The first is there's different types of problems that our clients want to use AI to solve. There's the alert side, right? Just tell me what has happened in real time so that I don't have to search through lots of data and figure that out myself. There's analysis. Tell me what's the impact of those real-time activities. There's scenario planning, thinking about if I do this, what would happen, right? So that you can actually think of different alternatives and see the impact. And then there's the recommendation engines. If this is the situation, how should I proceed? And so that's really how we've structured our use cases to think through each of those 4 different types of challenges. To answer the second half of your question, where specifically are we seeing our clients really start to focus? It's on the planning side. There's so much uncertainty out there right now from lots of different perspectives. And we couple that with a typically complex and intense multi-day, sometimes even multiple week activity around S&OP. And we start to see a lot of our clients looking for ways to enhance and support the S&OP process.
So let's drill in there. So I know from experience in my discussions with our clients that throughout their enterprise, teams are using AI, whether it's ChatGPT to make their presentations look better, or a group of large language models that surface recommendations, but nobody's really cracked the enterprise-wide AI solution. So in S&OP, what are we seeing? Is there solutions available? Is it just simply using the co-pilots that are in the platforms? Or are we offering solutions for them that can aid them in adding value to their enterprise?
Yeah, so S&OP is a huge process. So let me break it down into one of the areas where we're seeing a lot of interest, and that's around inventory explainability. So for example, if we look at those 4 pieces that I described earlier, there's an alert around some sort of unplanned inventory event, or a stock outage, would be an extreme version of that. We want to know that as soon as possible, or we even want to anticipate that, right? So alerts up front around inventory explainability are really critical. Then we want to know, well, what's the impact of that, right? Cost implications, ATP or available to promise implications. Where are we going to see client impact, and how can we minimize that? We can then start to look at scenarios so that we can minimize any negative impacts, for example, in client shipments. And then we want a recommendation to come out of that. So whether or not it's changes to safety stock or changes in our inventory mix, maybe even for a CPG client, a recommendation to eliminate a product that is being cannibalized regularly, so that we can really get down into very specific actions that'll have true bottom line impacts.
That's incredible. And besides that area, what's the second most talked about area where people want to bring in AI?
Yeah, so a lot of companies have invested a lot on their shop floor. They've got big, expensive machines. They've got an MES system, perhaps, to help manage their work centers. But they're really disconnected from their other big shop floor investment, and that's their ERP system. So we've built a use case to help connect the dots between the ERP and the production order management, and the shop floor and the actual production management.
Wonderful. So this use case, now this is a new initiative we're doing here. I'm speaking directly to the audience now. We call them our 1-minute explainer videos on AI. So we're going to take the 78 use cases and break them down into very digestible 1-minute videos on each of these use cases. So with shop floor that Jen just mentioned, this use case would be broken down into a minute bite-sized content that you can watch, you can share within the organization, that shows how we would apply this use case to an organization and what is the value that you can get from it. Jen, what else can you tell us about these minute videos that we're going to do and compile this library? What can our audience look forward to?
Yeah, so we try to explain in 1 minute, so it's really crisp, exactly who might want to use this use case, give a couple of scenarios of the either the types of companies or the types of process challenges that they might be having, so that it's really easy to say, oh, that use case could be applicable for me at my organization.
Wonderful. And you're going to star in them, right?
I just recorded the first 2 this morning.
Well, there we go. And we'll probably try to bring in more people from the Bristlecone ecosystem, our family. You'll get to listen to our thought leaders. And if you have any questions about any of those, you can always reach out to us. Another thing that's really cool, Jen is going to be involved with this as well. We're actually putting on the first AI and supply chain conference for the United States at Rutgers. We've teamed up with them. They're a top 5 supply chain university, as well as a leader in AI, to really talk about how AI is going to impact and influence the supply chain. This is much more in depth than many of the conferences that are out there. Typically, the conferences are much wider in breadth. They don't really focus in on use cases. Our goal is when you walk out of this conference, you'll know exactly how you can add value to your enterprise and mitigate the risks that are, I think, holding back a lot of enterprises from pulling the trigger. So before we leave, Jen, do you have any last words about AI in the supply chain?
Oh, I'm really excited about the Rutgers conference, but I always feel like I go back and I still, over the past year, haven't changed my advice. You've got to start thinking about data preparation. You've got to start thinking about how your culture is going to adapt, and you need to start thinking increasingly around which processes are you going to apply, which types of AI capabilities, whether it's alerts or scenario analysis or recommendation engines. But we're now in execution mode this year.
Wonderful advice. Thank you, Jen. Now, if you're curious about that conference, the details of it will probably pop up right about now, or the details will be in the comments below. Again, look forward to that library that we're putting together of the 1-minute AI use case videos. And if you have any questions or just want to talk to Jen further, she's a wealth of information and is open to anyone who wants to have a conversation. Just reach out to us. Thank you again.